All right, hey everyone at FIU. My name is Claudio. I'm here with Nick from Bayside.
Hello?
We're here today in Fort Lauderdale at Revolution, March 28th. You're on your American Culture Tour,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. You guys have been here to South Florida before. How's the scene here treated you like before? Like, do you have any memorable experiences from here?
We always love playing this club specifically. I think
Yeah.
Southern Florida, I think for a bunch of years now we've played the same venue. So it's familiar. This little block right here after the show is always kind of popping and fun, and the shows seem to be wild here at Revolution. Way back in the day when I joined the band, we used to play West Palm a lot, so that's kind of nearby, and those shows are always really fun. So I think this area of we never really played Miami proper unless it was Warped Tour, I want to say.
Yeah.
But Southern Florida, I think between West Palm and Fort Lauderdale has always been pretty good to us.
This is like the breeding ground for all bands.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like a bunch of clubs down here.
Yeah. It seems like just a hopping area. It's cool,
Yeah,
and it seems actually like it's getting more and more busy too.
Yeah,
which is
actually,
cool.
that's a great thing. Like
Yeah.
locally, it's
Definitely.
popping up. Your latest album, Cult, came out this past February. Tell us a little about it.
It's our 6th album. It's our first one with Hopeless Records, and it's really cool. I mean, we feel at this point like truly lucky, and that all of our hard work has paid off, because a lot of bands don't even get to have a second album, let alone 6. So our fans have been with us through 6 albums, 14 years, and it was our highest debuting album, and people generally loved the whole thing. There wasn't one or two standout tracks. I think our fans are unique in the fact that they listen to the entire album. I know people have specific songs they like, but when we did a poll online of what songs should we play on this, it was like so even.
They're all really close,
Like there was
yeah.
one or two that had like 13%, and then like everything else was like 8%. It was just so even. So that kind of legitimized the album for us, and just the fact that we're like stronger than ever, bigger than ever. Our fans are, they have our back more than ever. So it's such a good feeling to know that after 14 years and 6 albums that we're more successful than ever, for lack of a better word. It's just a remarkable feeling.
Yeah, I gotta say, not to kiss ass or anything, but I listened to it like when it came out last month, and I recommended it to him, and he really liked it too.
Yeah.
Like every song was
It
like,
might
really
be,
solid.
for someone who hasn't necessarily listened to us ever before, this might be the one that gets people into it. It's a natural progression for us, but there's also something about it that is very all-encompassing of all 5 other albums. It sounds like a good mixture of all other 5 albums. So if this is the first album people listen to, they might be able to understand and go back to the 5 previous albums and kind of get what we're all about.
What was the writing process for this album like going into the studio with Shep Goodman again?
Yeah.
You guys have worked him with a lot.
I mean, our process has always been pretty similar. If anything, over the past 2 albums, we just started to use the digital format of demoing a lot more. Other than that, it's still just Anthony sending, like acoustic versions with some like vocal melodies over, and then we all kind of work our parts into it and make it sound like a Bayside song. It's just always been that way. It just used to be a lot more analog, literally on cassette tapes 10 years ago, where we'd have to sit in a room and listen to cassette tapes and figure out parts, and then sit in rooms a lot longer, just playing the same song over and over until it felt right. And now the kind of digital aspect of it all means Anthony could literally email us a song idea. We could all individually play it by ourselves at home and get familiar with it. And as opposed to spending 8 or 10 hours in our practice space, we could spend 2 because we're familiar with the song when we get there. We're way more like accustomed to how we all write, what the band wants to sound like. So the writing process, it's harder in some ways, but the familiarity of
It feels a
working
little
together
more
is
organic.
yeah. It's definitely just something that we know what we want to sound like, and we're comfortable with what we want to sound like. So growing within that sound is just that's our only thing right now. We want to write the best songs we can that sound like our band.
That's great. What would you say the main difference is between this album and say Killing Time, or really just all your albums? Like, what would you like define like the evolution of Bayside throughout
This one,
the,
I
like
think,
14 years?
I think lyrically, that's it. Lyrically, I think it's a little bit different. I mean, still Anthony writing the lyrics, and for this album in particular, I think it's a little bit more with coming to terms with being an adult and having kind of adult problems and dealing with them in a positive way. Not necessarily. There's a lot less songs about failing relationships and kind of bitterness towards relationships. There's still one or two, but there's a lot of more songs about self-worth and just dealing with kind of adult situations. And going into it, I was a little worried that it was a shift in lyrics, the lyric content, that people wouldn't relate to it as much. But the thing with being a band for so long is that our fans are adults now, so they're dealing with the same thing, so it's cool.
Yeah, so as you mature, your fans are too.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few people who like one album and don't like 5 or 6 other ones, so I think that there's just the following that we have is just very like we're very connected to our fans, and I think that what they love about us is that connection and the fact that they're kind of going through the same thing we're all going through. We're just 4 normal dudes that love to play music, and the fact that we get to like connect with our fans the way we do, and it means a lot to us, and I think for our fans too, it's a major like drawing point for them to us.
Right. Last August, you guys signed, or it was announced at least last August, signed to Hopeless Records. Yeah. Has there been like I guess any change since like signing to this?
Like we would never be on a label that wouldn't let us be us. So Hopeless getting involved and wanting to put our albums out, they knew what they were getting. The only change is that they're super supportive. Like they've done everything they said they were going to do, and we've had like a little bit of bad luck with that in the past with record labels where some support wasn't necessarily there, but Hopeless has come through on everything they said they were going to do, and they're part of the reason our album debuted higher than any other Bayside album has, and this tour is selling more tickets than any other tour we've ever done, and it's a real sense of family, kind of like Victory was back in the day. They only have they have less than 20 employees, and it's very family oriented around there, and I think people genuinely want us to do well because they know that it betters their label if we do better, and I think going into it, we had a bunch of fans over there too, so all of a sudden people who liked our band are working for our band in some way, and I feel like they're a little bit more invested in it, and it's just a great feeling. There's nothing better, whether it's fans or label or people who work for you. There's nothing better than having people believe in what you do. And that's a whole part of the process for us, is just surrounding ourselves with just people who really believe in what we do and want to support us.
Right. You said about in the past you always haven't had that much luck with labels. Does that kind of come out in there were 2 songs about the music industry, and your place in it, Bear With Me and Stuttering, does that come out in those songs?
Oh, definitely, especially Stuttering, for sure. I mean, what people don't ever see is the actual business side of music industry and business decisions we've had to make just to keep touring, just to keep doing albums, stuff like that. It's always been, for us, the most important thing that we need to do is write music and get on tour. And a lot of times it's just business decisions that lead us to get there, and sometimes they're not favorable to us. They're favorable to record labels or other people, and sometimes we have to bend over backwards just to make it work. But it's that important to us that we couldn't fold for financial reasons or because a label isn't the most favorable thing in the world. Like, we've made a career for ourselves, and all these albums and all these tours and all this stuff. It all has to do with the songs we write and the shows we play, and that's what's most important. So we bend over backwards a lot to make that work and never have any sort of interruption as far as songwriting, new albums, and touring.
The video for Time Has Come recently came out. What was the idea behind not only the song itself, but like the video?
The video, we just wanted it to be nuts. We didn't. We wanted it to be like unique and kind of frantic, and it definitely is. I don't think that there's necessarily even a storyline to it. It's just visually kind of crazy. The song,
that's what punk should be.
yeah, definitely. I mean, we've done videos over the years, and we're like sometimes too invested in a storyline, or sometimes the idea is too big for the budget. This time we were just like, all right, just make it look amazing, make it look crazy, make it look visually appealing, and that's that. It's not going to MTV, it's not going to Fuse or anything. People are going to watch it on their phones, like it doesn't need to be this crazy thing, it's a weird shift in how I think about music, but I literally, when we started talking about the video, I was just like, listen, people are going to watch it, maybe not even the whole thing, that people are going to watch it on their phones. Like, we don't need to kill ourselves over an idea for a video. Like, just make it look good. And the idea of like, it was kind of like GIF oriented, where there's a lot of like repeating kind of like circles in the video, and we just wanted it to look cool. And the song itself it's got a good energy, and it's a positive song about kind of like taking your own life in your own hands. And I mean, the energy of the song kind of lent itself to having a little bit of a crazy video with a lot of quick cuts and stuff like that. So we're happy with it. I think it came out, when we first got the first cut of it, I think we all responded that it was just crazy, looked crazy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we wanted.
I mean, hey, sometimes minimalism is like gets the best results.
Definitely. I mean, to have a storyline or something that went with the video just didn't feel right this time.
Okay. Being an experienced band that you guys are, what have been like the most valuable lessons you've learned on the road, or what are some things that you wish you knew before getting into a band?
Well, getting into a band, definitely. I mean, the business, like I mentioned, the business side of it is terrible. I mean, there's just a lot of people who profit off of our hard work, just for kind of being there. There's so many things that we do that other people make money off of, and sometimes more money than us. So that's something I wish would go away. And that's definitely a harsh reality of it all. That it's just part of the business for sure. And I don't know. We've always just tried to. I think early on, a lot of times we would go on tour as like the first band or the second band, and sometimes wouldn't get treated well. So now that we're like more of a established headlining act, we definitely like to treat the bands we take on tour really well. So that's one thing we learned, like not what to do early on. Is
treat how you would want it.
Yeah, exactly. Because we got treated like shit a lot of times. Not a lot, but enough to know that we want to treat bands and give opportunities to younger bands so that they could flourish. So it's a cool time for us to be a headlining act, because there's a lot of bands that are up and coming that need support and need to play in front of people, and we really feel gracious that we have the opportunity to give people that, because 10 years ago we didn't have that. We were taking tours on like screamo tours that had nothing to do with us, but we just went out and wanted to go on tour. So these days there's a lot more bands that make sense for us to take on tour, and that's a really good opportunity, and we love that.
So like, what is some like most valuable, I guess, that you've learned? Like, you had to like pick up all the lessons you've learned. Like, you had to just like pick one.
You just can't be a bad person. You got to do things for the right reason. I mean, it's hard when like money's involved and stuff, but if you're just good, then the money will be fine, and your finances will be fine, and that's it. You just really, the people who are the bands that are trendy and just not nice people, they go away after a couple of years, and that's why we've been a band for 14 years, because we've done things the right way.
Hakuna Matata, right?
Yeah. In some ways, yeah.
All right. Well, last question for today. What's the future hold for Bayside? Like, what are you guys doing after the American Cold Tour?
Well, we're heading to Europe about a week after this tour wraps up with Alkaline Trio, and that's about another month worth of touring. And then we'll be on Warped Tour all summer, and
Great, nice. I'll see you again.
yeah. No, we'll after that we'll probably have a little bit of time off. We don't have anything confirmed yet, but I know we're trying to tour, the rest of the year, and there's some talk about doing another album sooner than later. I mean, our last 2 albums kind of have come out over the span of like 5.5 years, so we might try and pump one out sooner than later.
Yeah, when
We'll
inspiration hits, just go. All right, well, I'm Claudio. I'm here with Nick from Bayside. You have any final messages for the viewers?
That's it. Just follow us on social media, and especially me, follow me, because I like to make people laugh. So.
All right, we'll see you online. All right, great interview.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.